Now, artificial intelligence is an area of computer science that emphasizes the creation of intelligent machines. Intelligent machines that work and react like human beings. So, intelligence is there, but then that's artificial. It is not human intelligence. So, with the help of machines, if we can perform the works which machines can perform, then that's called as artificial intelligence. Some of the activities that computers with artificial intelligence are designed are, we see voice is recognized. Okay. The best example here, what we can, um, Google thing and Alexa, these are all devices which are there, and then they understand the instructions what are given. Okay. So voice is recognized, it understands the language and understands the voice and the commands which are given, and then performs the duties about it. So voice recognition, planning, it helps in planning, learning and problem solving. Okay. There are three types of artificial intelligence which are mentioned here, called as supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement. As the name says, supervised learning, it is supervised by human beings. Okay. So in this instance, an algorithm uses training data and feedback from humans to learn the relationship of given inputs to outputs. So there are certain commands which are already inputted, and then based on that, so what it has to perform, the machines what they have to perform, for that there are set of codes or the inputs are already feeded into the computer, and accordingly machines perform the duties. So that's supervised learning. There are three steps in as to how the supervised learning works. The first one is a human labels every elements of the input data. Fine. Then defines what should be the output data. So there is the labeling part of it, the inputting of the data part of it is taken care by human beings, and accordingly the tasks are performed by the machines. Then an algorithm is trained on the data to find the connection between the input variables and then output. So whatever is the command to find out the relationship between an input and output is also given by the human beings. Therefore, accordingly, the machines perform. Then we see, once training is completed, typically when the algorithm is sufficiently accurate in providing output data from input, then the algorithm is applied to the new data. So if it can perform the duty, if it finishes that, then in that case, it is applied to the new data. Then we have unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning, with unsupervised learning, an algorithm interrogates input data without being given an explicit output variable. So machine itself, without any human inputting the data, it performs the task whatever are assigned. Okay, the three steps for using unsupervised learning are: the algorithm receives unlabeled data. Then the algorithm, then it only draws some conclusion, infers some sort of structure of the data, and then whatever is the command which has to be executed, or whatever is the task which has to be executed, that is executed by the machines, by the computer. So that's given as unsupervised learning. Then we have reinforcement learning. This is when an algorithm learns to perform a task by trying to maximize the rewards it receives for actions it takes. So reinforcement. Uh, what are the three steps in the reinforcement learning are? First, the algorithm takes an action on the environment. It receives a reward if the action taken is successful. Then the algorithm optimizes the best series of actions by correcting itself over time. So improvisation, every time when it performs the task, it improvises every other time. Something we learned about continuous improvement. So something like that. It is continuous improvement of itself, what it has performed. So rewards for reinforcement learning will depend on the application to which the AI is put. So um, I mean, what is the reward which is assigned for that? It again depends then. Reinforcement learning has famously been used in training computers how to play games. Okay, we see that. I mean, when you people must be knowing how when you're playing on any game or something, how the tasks are performed and how it happens. So um, so every time the task is performed, then it is a little better than the previous one. So the computer itself will assign the task to itself, and then based on whatever is the desired output, it performs. If it comes any closer to the output, then that is assigned uh, to itself, and then the next time it performs it much better. So that is continuous improvement kind of thing. So artificial intelligence, when we look at artificial intelligence, there are three types: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement, where intelligence is exhibited, but this is not by human beings, but it is by machines. So that's called as artificial intelligence. Yesterday we've discussed about cloud computing. What are the benefits and associated with cloud computing? Then when we go further, the next topic is about Internet of Things. The interconnection. So Internet of Things is being connected, interconnection via the Internet of computing devices embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. So when through internet, when devices are connected, it enables them to be interconnected, share the information, and have an access to the other devices. That is Internet of Things. There are benefits. It's easy, immediately decisions can be taken, the information can be shared, and I mean, necessary action can be taken upon. At the same time, it is also sometimes it is useless if it is not needed, it is not relevant that they are connected to the devices. It would be a waste of time, a waste of the entire activity. Okay, so Internet of Things talks about being interconnected through the internet about the various devices. We understand that Bluetooth is a technology which connects the devices one to another through internet, and uh, we can share data. These are applications which are there wherein we get connected to the others, and then um, sharing of data happens. But then sometimes it's useless. Why to be connected and receive unnecessary, irrelevant information, and then have to spend time on looking at that. Whatever is relevant at that time, if it is connected, that would be better. Then the next topic is about big data. What is big data? Big data is, the name itself says that it is big, large. Okay, large volume of data, when it is taken up for processing, we call that as big data. A large period of time or a large volume of data, when it is taken to process the data, that's called as big data. A collection of data so large that it becomes difficult to store and process using traditional databases. So, if um, if the conventional methods of processing, if it has a limitation on how to take up or how to process this data, then we have this facility called as software available to process large volume of data. So there are examples of softwares which are used, like Hadoop is a software which can be used to process the data. Now, the data is large, that is understood. Then, if the large data has to be analyzed, the traditional way was a sample was selected, and with the sample, the experiment or whatever is the analysis has to be done. That was done, and it was applied for the entire population. But then, if the entire population, now it may not be a true representative of the large data. If the large data has to be analyzed, in that case entire large data to be considered and taken it for processing is about big data. So large data and multiple sets of large data, when they are processed, we call that as big data analysis. There are characteristics of big data. They are variety, volume, velocity, and veracity. Okay, veracity is the last one which recently got added, but otherwise it was only three characteristics of big data. The first one, variety. Variety of data. The conventional published data, the opinions which are collected, it could be quantitative in form of figures, it could be qualitative. Now various types of data is taken into consideration. um, then volume is large, that we understand that. Velocity is the speed with which these data can be processed. So simultaneously multiple sets of data can be processed with the help of big data. So the velocity, the speed with which it can be processed is quite high. After that, we see that veracity is the truthfulness, the fairness of the data. It is not manipulated data, the fair data which has to be considered. Now that is veracity. These are the characteristics of big data. There are benefits of big data, there are disadvantages of or some limitations of big data. The benefits are it drives innovation. So earlier, what was not considered about taking considering the entire volume of data and processing, now that becomes possible now, driving innovation. Then definitely when the result would be different when a sample is put into use and then it is applied for the entire data, or um, they consider the entire large volume of data and then uh, take it for processing, and then the result is, now when the entire data is considered, the result would be more accurate. Instead applying the sample to the entire population, the data which is processed and the result of that would be more accurate, more valuable. So then gaining competitive advantage is one advantage, and then it improves productivity. Okay. After that, what are the big data problems? The big data problems are difficult to convert data to useful information. It is analyzed, the conclusions are there, but then because the application part of it, it is difficult to convert data to useful information. So maybe you are focusing only on one particular market, or one size should be considered, but the result is for the entire data. So for one particular group it may not be applied. Okay. Shortage of skills, it is a new concept, it's a new new thing which is being considered. Therefore not many resources are available, people are there, um, the systems are not everybody understands how to operate big data, so shortage of skills. Since the data is large and everything is considered, um, the confidentiality, the security aspects of it is it's no longer confidential. So data protection and privacy issues are there. Security is an issue because big data gathers information from variety of sources, that is there. So when the data has to be collected, the data analytics software, whatever data through data analytics, the softwares whichever are used can attract the information. So the security aspect of it is a big question mark, because mm, recently Facebook CEO also was questioned on these terms. Now how is that the information was leaked out, or because it was possible for the softwares to capture that private data. So security aspect of it is a big question mark when large volume is being large data is being collected. So security aspect, privacy and confidentiality aspects are a big question here in case of big data. You must have observed that the minute you type a keyword or some search thing for some product, then you see for the next few days uh, advertisements relating to those products keep popping up on the internet, where whatever is the site which you log into, somewhere sideways or somewhere upward downward some place you see an advertisement related to that particular product. How does it happen? So your privacy part of it is at risk, because the computers are or the systems are capturing the uh, your privacy, and then finding out what is your area of interest, and addressing that thing through advertisements. So privacy is a big issue. The next one is about blockchain. Blockchain, this is a new technology wherein the meaning of it says that a decentralized, distributed and public digital ledger used to record transactions across many computers. So chain is uh, a sequence of things, or a chain is a sequence of interlinked things is called as chain. What is in the form of chain? What is in the form of chain? Blocks are in the form of chain. So that is blockchain. So I do not know whether I can draw a block. Let's see. If this is a block, let's see that this is a block. Okay, some kind of, I'm not good at drawing, don't worry about it. So if there is a block, and the sequence of blocks when they are connected to multiple blocks kind of thing. So but what is this block all about? Now there is a set of data which is stored. Now that set of data is in the form of a block. Now on one side, if you're considering it to be a block, on one side of that, the data whatever is stored is there on one facet, one side of the block. Another side, let's say that some kind of code is there to protect the data, so it is blocked now. It is some way in which it protects whatever is the data, wherein it cannot be what do we call it, cannot be changed. Some word which we use, it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered, nothing can be done with that. So it is blocked now, it's sealed with a code kind of thing. So something referred to like fingerprint, which is unique to every individual, which doesn't match with others. Similarly, whatever is the code or the print or the way in which it has to be blocked is blocked. Then this is connected to the next set of block. The next set of block also then again has the same facets. There we see that then we see that the new set of data is recorded. This again has a code, so that this new set of data is blocked. And now that this is connected to the next one, this another facet of it will have the previous data, which is connected to that. So now, like that, interconnected blocks of data would be there. So whatever is stored on the computers, then each code, each set of data stored in the form of a block has a code, and again it has a connection to the previous one. So halfway through somewhere, if there is some alteration made to the data, let's say that the second set of data is connected to third set, third is fourth, fourth, it goes on like that, because it's chain of activities. Now at the third stage, if they want to alter that, when the data is altered, when there is change made to the data, immediately the code also gets changed. But then this is connected to third one, is connected to fourth, fourth is connected to fifth, fine. Now in that case, the fourth one has the code of the old third one. Now third block, when we have that, the third block, when there is a code which is there, and the alteration is made in the third one, since it is connected to the fourth one, fifth one, and all, fourth one has the third block data as the previous one. Therefore, that again, the code doesn't match, because the code will be transferred to the fourth one and it's stored in the form of a previous one. So there is a kind of a security which is there, which doesn't allow them to make alterations. So here, now, even if there is no personal interaction also, one computer or one user can be connected to another one, even without making any changes to the data. In that fashion, it can be connected. So that is the point of blockchain. In the form of blocks, the set of data is connected, the data has a code, and the and one side of the block has the previous set of data which is connected. So now, because it is interlinked, and one set is connected to another set, goes on, so the code also is transferred to the next set, and at the next set, if there is any alteration made to the data which is stored, in that case the code is changed. When the code is changed, then it doesn't get connected to the next sets of data. So that security aspect of it is the main point here. Main benefit is security, because it is not possible to manipulate that, change that, alter that data. So it says that a decentralized, distributed, and public digital ledger used to record transactions across many computers. So whatever is recorded there on the computer, whatever is the data information which is shared on the computers, and that is safe. It cannot be altered by anyone. So once it is stored, then maybe through some algorithm, if alterations have to be made, then something has to be used, but otherwise it is not technically possible that it can be. So it is a safe way of connecting through computers, even if they are not familiar with the users also. Even if they do not know the users also, they can still be connected through the computers. Okay, there are certain key features of blockchain technology. The data cannot be corrupted. Decentralized technology, so everybody can use their this through the system, they can be connected. So there is nobody to monitor their activities, because there is the security aspect of it. They can still get connected to the computers, and there is no need of anyone to monitor them. Okay, it has enhanced security, it has distributed ledgers. Okay, then if the sequence of blocks are there, and if there is some alteration made to the data, in that case the code changes, and the code again delinks with the other subsequent blocks, because third one, if there is an alteration, the third one code will be altered, and the earlier saved in the fourth block, the code would be the old code. So like that, when they get disconnected, then it is a problem. Therefore, for an alteration to make, whoever are the users who are connected, at least 50% of them should give their consensus so that the alteration can be made. So it is something like not possible. Agreeing making 50% of the users agree to the alteration is almost like a difficult task. When they agree, then only changes can be made, and then faster settlement of whatever are the financial transactions which take place through this blockchain. The settlement is faster. Okay, these are the key features of blockchain. I think during this crisis time, there are many organization institutes which have come forward to offer these courses free of cost. Okay, professional programs. I am not uh, user of CIMA site. I have absolutely no idea of what is going on CIMA site. Okay, earlier also I've taught one or two papers, but I'm not a regular user of it. So maybe your body, CIMA body, is also offering this. My voice is breaking. Okay, let me connect myself to another thing. Just give me 1 minute. I'll connect it to some other connection. Tell me if it is clear or not now. Okay, just listen to that. Zoom consumes a lot of data, and there is the regular connection, home connection, what we use. Um, these fluctuations are there. Now, you also must have experienced that Zoom consumes a lot of data, right? I've changed to another connection, and then now check it. The next one is called as data visualization. 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 I mean the. Okay, data visualization. What's the meaning of it? Is presenting the data, presenting information in such a way that users can understand patterns, trends. Okay, so visually easy to understand kind of thing. Now, uh, election ballot. Okay, election ballot. We see that. There are symbols which are allocated. The logos, the party symbols are indicating that yes, this belongs to a particular candidate or a particular party. So even if an person who doesn't have, and who's not a literate person, not an educated one, also still can understand that and then take decision according to that. It's the reason. Um, Now the examples what are given are bubble clouds, cartograms, heat maps, histograms, radial trees. These are all examples where uh, they can be presented through pictures and the pictorial presentation, graphical presentation. These are examples of data visualization. These can supplement these can supplement more traditional forms of presenting data, such as the conventional ones are charts, tables, graphs, maps, infographics, and dashboards. Now they are supported with other things like these are new technology or new things which are used as um, data visualization. So the easy presentation and representation of the data, which wherein it can be understood, inferred upon, um, that is called as data visualization. Then we have another technology called as 3D printing. What does it mean, 3D printing? 3D printing meaning is creating three-dimensional solid objects from digital files. So the picture has multi-dimensional, so you can see all the aspects of that particular figure. 3D image helps in understanding the multiple facets of that particular image, also referred to as additive layer manufacturing. So the three dimensions of a solid object now, that has come in terms of recording also, and then the objects have which can show the multiple facets of that. Earlier it was only one sided thing, so with the help of 3D printing, it gives a better understanding of that solid object. It can be understood because the various facets of that particular object can be understood. So now, what are the benefits of going for 3D printing? 3D printing benefits are this: reduced waste, eliminate transport costs, less environmental impact, shorter lead time. So what does it mean? Now, when the picture is in the form of that, in that case, one picture suffices. One picture is sufficient that it conveys the entire thing. It need not be covered from various angles, and then people need not actually travel to have a look at what is that image all about or what is that object all about. They can get an understanding about that object with the help of three dimensional pictures. The three dimensional printing or the image which is generated by 3D printing helps them to understand it better, and they need not physically go and verify that, and it has a less environmental impact. It need not be printed in multiple copies, but one thing is sufficient. Shorter lead times, greater customization, increased profitability, and potential social benefits are there. So with that, which conveys the meaning of these aspects, there are these benefits, that is it can be conveyed to the users in a better way. Then time can be saved, the requirements or the facilities can be provided in a more customized way. Increased profitability and potential social benefits are there. What are the problems for that? The problems of 3D printing: the cost aspect of it. Obviously, new technology would cost more, which cannot be afforded by small size units. So small units cannot, they cannot afford to go for that cost. Then the quality concerns about what what aspects of the quality or the benefit which can be derived out of that is one aspect. To operate these things, there's lack of skills. There are legal concerns, example patents are there. Maybe they do not allow them to go for 3D printing, because once the object can be understood in a three-dimensional, there is a possibility of others imitating that particular thing. Therefore there might be some legal concerns, and then it can have an environmental impact of this thing. And ethical concerns, example lack of proper testing. Okay, these are the problems associated with 3D printing. Then we have the last one called as process automation. Process automation takes a process that was once done manually and make it automated. Okay, so what was done manually, that is example was an attendance register was considered. Now of late people the minute they walk into a premises or anything, their face is recognized, or the um, fingerprints or biometrics. Those things are what was once done in a more manual way. Now it is done in an automated way. This is time saving, fine. Benefits are productivity, eliminates risk of human error, therefore greater accuracy. So that's an important factor. So it is less manipulative. So man can manipulate things, but because the machines are involved here, the scope of manipulation is less, and then it has greater accuracy, and then the output has consistency. It also can be used for having an audit trail. It can be verified, it can be cross verified, cross checked with that. Then flexibility to cope with peaks, troughs in demand. So when there I mean the demand is high also, with the help of automation it can still be met. And then staff deployed to less mundane task, increasing job satisfaction. So now earlier whatever was a repetitive job, some of the jobs are quite repetitive. Now of late you must have seen that wherever you visit, for example if you visit to a hospital, the same set of questions are asked. Did you go to some place, do you have cold, cough, fever, things like that. Now that is a mundane job. Asking, if there are 100 visitors, you in a day you have to ask the same set of questions 100 times. Okay, so if such repetitive jobs which are um, monotonous, which lacks skills and all, now such work, if it is automated, now in that case the employees can be placed elsewhere, wherein their skills are recognized and they can have some job satisfaction. Okay, then available, now this automation is available 24 by 7, 365 days a year. And then it saves cost, because the speed with which automated work is done is much um, high faster as compared to the manual work, so it is cost saving. Now the challenges are integration into existing IT system. This automation has to be integrated with the other information systems in the organization. So that is a challenge. Then lack of standardization, organizations' reluctance to cut jobs. So if in automation is introduced, then we've looked at that as an advantage, where people can be moved to some other jobs. So which means that in that particular role, that particular position, human beings are not needed. So it is kind of a reducing the labor force. So they, what was looked at as an advantage, if some of them are not skilled in any particular aspect, if they can only do these mundane jobs, then for them they would be losing their job. So that is looked at as a disadvantage. And if they are going to lose their jobs, if the organization doesn't want to lose on the employees of the organization, then it is difficult to implement automation in the organization. And the cost aspect of it has to be considered. And to implement this, this lack of skills. Now, initially it would be lack of skills, but once it is used for a while, then we see that people understand the intricacies of that, and then they learn that, and then uh, they can implement it in a better fashion. Okay, so initially it would have that lack of skills. Then we move to the next part of it. But whatever are the, for the digital strategy, what are the other aspects we have to look into that. Before that, whatever are the MCQs connected to these concepts, let's finish it off that and then come back to this one. Let's see what are the MCQs. Question number 181. F has recently started gathering extremely large volumes of information about his customers. His main concern is that his customers' details are changing rapidly and he is uncertain how to prevent his data becoming out of date. Which one aspect of Gartner's 4Bs model is F having difficulties with? What happened? Nobody is answering. We're doing question number 181, isn't it? What is veracity? The truthfulness of it. Velocity is the speed with which the data changes. Volume is the size of the data. Variety is the various types of data, conventional, published, um, quantitative, qualitative, all that. So, The question here is F has recently started gathering extremely large volumes of information about his customers. His main concern is that his customers' details are changing rapidly and he is uncertain how to prevent his data becoming out of date. So what is the concept here? The speed with which rapidly changing, the speed aspect of it is discussed here. So when we are talking about the speed aspect, then what should we do? We should go with that. It is changing rapidly. So the speed aspect is velocity. Am I not audible? Nobody is responding. Am I audible? Okay, okay, fine. So did you understand this one? The details are changing rapidly, the speed with which they are changing. Okay, so which one aspect of Gartner's 4B's model is F having difficulties with? So since it is changing rapidly with the speed, then he will have to focus on the characteristic of velocity which has to. That is a problem which is facing, but that can be addressed with the help of big data. 182. Which three of the following are typical problems that organizations may face when dealing with big data? 3 points have to be selected. B, what does it B say? A lack of skills in the labor pool relating to the handling of big data. So lack of skills is one a problem or a disadvantage or limitation of big data, but rather in almost all of them we can see that as a limitation. Then um, you say D, you say E, then you say C. The increased use of electronic devices within society at large is a generic statement, it's not a limitation of that. C talks about legal and privacy issues if data is held about individuals. Is that a limitation? Yes. Okay. A large volume of data, legal and privacy issues are there. Then D talks about measurement of metrics that have no use to the organization. Then we have inability to monitor information from social media sites. Do you agree, D? The first point, difficult to convert data to useful information. Usefulness is one aspect of it. So With which one do we go? Do we go with D or E? We've already agreed upon B. C. A is not the case. So B, C, and D. The usefulness of it sometimes is not sure. Measurement of metrics that have no use to the organization. Then we have question number 183. Ms. Cole is CEO of Starfish, a group of 6 technology companies that recently merged to form a complete ecosystem. In a presentation to the senior management team of Starfish, Ms. Cole gave an inspirational and passionate argument why digitalization is the only way for Starfish to succeed. She called up the senior management team to take this message to their staff and asked for the support of everyone in gaining the commitment of the whole group. In order to successfully manage the move to digital, the executive leadership team must this is not, we've still not done this one. Let's do the next one. We'll come back to this one. Don't worry about it. We'll come back. Remember about 183. We'll come back and then deal with that. Look at 184. Question number 184. Midlife is a specialist insurance company targeting customers aged between 30 and 60 years old. Midlife is transferring all of its computing to a virtual server on the internet. This will allow for far greater storage capacity, and the staff will be able to access and process data from any location with Wi-Fi or mobile signal using a laptop or cell phone. We identify which one of the following midlife is adopting. What happened? You're not giving me the answer. It's so simple, no? Midlife is transferring all of its data. Are the term what is used is called as cloud computing, isn't it? Is it cloud storage or cloud computing? Cloud and mobile computing. That's the term which is used. The term is not called as cloud storage, cloud computing. Then we have the next one, 185. Rainer is a large manufacturer of recipe dishes, food products that can be kept refrigerated and then cooked in an oven or microwave. Reiner's supply chain is very complex as it buys ingredients from hundreds of suppliers in about 20 countries. Rainer has invented in a bot which pays suppliers invoices without any human intervention. As a result, fewer suppliers are complaining about late payment, and Rainer has significantly reduced its processing costs. Identify which one of the following approaches Rainer is using. What's the answer? What happened? Logged in and disappeared, or what is the issue? Nobody is responding. Okay. A. A is the answer. Process automation. That's the answer. That's right. Process automation. 101 FM is a digital radio station launched in 2018. 101 FM has already gained substantial audiences. Until a few years ago, the country in which 101 FM is based insisted on radio stations obtaining a license to operate. Getting a license was bureaucratic and time consuming. As a result, very few new radio stations were formed. In addition, the state owned a large broadcasting company which provided a range of different stations, each catering for different tastes. This made gaining an audience um, this made gaining an audience difficult, and many new stations failed as they could not gain enough listeners to reach break-even point. However, it made promoting music relatively cheap as record companies needed only to persuade a few stations to play their artists' output. Prior to the growth of the internet, providing radio services required huge investments in infrastructure. Radio stations needed expensive studio facilities and broadcast equipment, including transmitters and relay stations. Now, a digital via the internet and broadcast from internet station can be set up at relatively low cost. Presenters can create shows at home playing music streamed from the internet. The broadcast process have been automated by means of apps which can be installed on any mobile device. These provide presenters with all the functionality of a radio studio without the need for any hardware. Internet only stations do not need a license. Broadcast from internet stations can have their output transmitted via digital audio broadcast by broadcast companies. This allows radio stations to share the costs of licenses and transmission costs, vastly reducing their fixed costs. As a result, the country in which 101 FM is based now has over 1,000 radio stations compared with fewer than 100 only 10 years ago. Analyze the above information and identify which of the following affects the development of digital broadcasting and the subsequent growth of stations like 101 FM has had on the music radio ecosystem. Select all that applies. It's a very long story. Okay. Select all that applies. first one talks about barriers to entry have fallen, thus increasing the threat of new entrants. Do you agree with that? How was it earlier done? The cost was quite high, so they were kind of um, not interested to start that. They were away from that. It says that getting a license, licensing procedure was there, so getting a license was bureaucratic and time consuming. So they stayed away from entering into that particular um, area, that zone of doing business. So very few new radio stations were formed, right? In addition, the state owned a large broadcasting company which provided a range of different stations, each catering to that. So government's role was also very big. This made gaining an audience difficult, and many new stations failed as they could not gain enough listeners to reach break-even point. That is the issue. So earlier there were things which were not in favor of the new entrants to enter into that because of the licensing process. A time consuming bureaucratic licensing process was there. Therefore, they were not very keen on starting their business. But then what happened? So it says that prior to the growth of internet, providing radio services required huge investments in infrastructure. Radio stations needed expensive studio facilities and broadcast equipment, including transmitters and relay stations. Now, what is the situation now? Now, a digital via the internet and broadcast from internet station can be set up at relatively low cost. So now it is possible for them to set up a radio station at a relatively low cost. Presenters can create shows at home, playing music streamed from the internet. So with the help of internet, things are now eased. So there is a possibility for them to start their radio stations and then broadcast whatever they have to do. So broadcast from internet stations can have their output transmitted via digital audio broadcast by broadcast companies. This allows radio stations to share the cost of license and transmission cost, vastly reducing their fixed costs. So now the entry is eased up. So that is now possible for them. So here the first one talks about barriers to entry have fallen, thus increasing the threat of new entrants. Okay, do you agree or not? Do you agree with one a bit? Come back, get connected. Do you agree with A or not? Then I will have to call out the names. Vikram, Valli, Shruti. Give me an answer. No, Shruti, Valli. Valli, to very rarely, very rarely you have responded in the class. I do not know why. Are there two Shwetas in the class? Shweta, Varshini, Shweta. Shivakumar. So respond whether we should go with A or not. Barriers to entry have fallen. Do you agree with that? Barriers to entry have fallen. Is it possible for them to now start their radio station? So you were not listening to what I was explaining. Anyone in the class who understands A bit is correct? Tell me whether we should go with A or not. Do you think the barriers to maintain current? This is a very nice. Um, Everyone who's asked a question has the same answer, so not responding much. Um, Anyone whose connection is good and then followed what this question was. Okay, let's see the gist of it. Earlier, it was not the case was about to start a radio station was not very possible because of the licensing procedure, which was time consuming, and also um, government's presence in this particular sector was very dominant. They had many radio stations serving various customers. So then it was not possible for them to start. The cost aspect also was very high, wherein it was not possible for them to break even. After the digitalization through internet, the broadcast was possible. So broadcast from internet stations can have their output transmitted via digital audio broadcast by broadcast companies. This allows radio stations to share the cost of licenses and transmission costs, vastly reducing their fixed cost. That's the scenario. So the case has, at present, what is the situation which is prevailing to start a radio station? It was almost like not possible for them to start a radio station, and because government's presence was there. Like there was a time when Doordarshan was so very dominant, Akashvani was so dominant, and then we did have many private um, TV channels or radio channels also we didn't have. There was a kind of a monopoly at that time by the government. Okay. Then later on, we saw that it was possible because of whatever was the relaxing in the licensing system and all, and then um, private players also enter into that. Now it is now here in this case it is possible to broadcast from internet. So that was the case. So on account of that, now the question says that apply all that, select all that applies. Analyze the above information and identify which of the following affects the development of digital broadcasting and subsequent growth of stations like 101 FM has had on the music radio ecosystem. Select all that apply. So, according to that, we can understand that the barriers to entry have fallen. So that's the first point. The second point talks about the bargaining power of customers has decreased due to a much wider choice of stations. So, when there are many stations, the bargaining power of customers has decreased. So, do you think so? Do you agree with B? Oh my God, nobody is responding at all. The bargaining power of customers has increased. Is it increased or decreased? Did the power of customers increase? Customers are not very powerful now because there are many channels. So it has increased due to much wider choice of stations. It has increased. It has decreased. When there are many suppliers, what happens? The power of customers increases, decreases. When there are many suppliers, what happens? The customers have to be attracted. That's why this cutthroat competition. So then the power of who increases? Customer only increases. The power of customer increases. What about the power of supplier? Does it increase? The power of supplier doesn't increase because there are many suppliers, so they are not very powerful. Very few suppliers, they become powerful. Rivalry has increased as low cost operators have entered into the industry. Do you agree with that? Rivalry has increased. Yes, rivalry has increased. Then digital radio is no longer perceived as a substitute to terrestrial radio. Is it a substitute? It is. Now it is almost on par with the conventional way of broadcasting the um, broadcasting through radio stations. So it is almost on par with the conventional radio stations. Stormy is an independent weather forecaster for sailors. Users subscribe to an app and receive detailed weather forecasts to allow them to prepare for competitive or leisure sailing activities. Stormy's app works in the following way. The algorithm behind the app receives a wide range of data from public weather stations and compares this to a large database of historic weather patterns. The app then predicts local weather based on what happened in the past. The app then monitors the actual weather as it evolves and receives credits based on the accuracy of its forecast. The app then learns how to improve its forecast and modifies its future forecasts. Analyze the above information and identify what type of machine learning is being used by Stormy. Is it supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, or organizational learning? Which one of it is correct? Is it supervised? Is it unsupervised in the first case? How many types of machine learning or artificial intelligence do we have? There are three types. What happened today? Nobody is listening to the class. Good that it is only a 2 hour class today. Otherwise, I would have struggled much. The point here is the algorithm behind the app receives a wide range of data from public weather stations. After that, the app then monitors the actual weather as it evolves and receives credits. So there are rewards given to the app for the intelligence. And then based on the credits, the app then learns how to improve its forecast. So this is continuous improvement. We've discussed about that. That is called as reinforcement learning. Okay. Tomorrow is a holiday for you. Is it a holiday for you tomorrow? Okay. Okay. General questions. So you have only last 2 days on Monday and Tuesday. So two last classes. After that, you have only this class going on, isn't it? After that, your college classes will start. What is that? Which will happen after that? Let's do one question and then end the class. Anyway, it's time now. Fine, we'll end the class here. Okay, it's another 3 minutes or so. We'll end the class here. Okay, we have not yet checked it. Fine. Okay, then because these are lengthy questions, we do it on Monday. So Monday, the entire content will be done. So we'll finish the syllabus on Monday, complete, and then see whatever we can do it on Tuesday. Okay, any doubt? Provided you were listening. That's again another thing. Okay, fine, and then good day. Okay, see you on Monday.